What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. And boy, it's I've been saying it, young directors coming into horror. Now, while I don't think this is the perfect horror movie, it is certainly entertaining to watch. I think it's given us a really fun killer. That's the best part of the whole movie. But here to talk about the whole thing with me is, of course, the two horror aficionados, two of the best scary talking people on the internet. Starting with my header life mate, Jeremy. What's up, brother?
I know. I hope this is intimidating because I can't see a damn thing. Actually, this is about as best as I can do right now.
If I would have thought ahead of time, I absolutely would have gotten gotten some of those like heart-shaped glasses they were selling for the last couple of weeks for Valentine's Day. But,
right. I mean, this is just two heart-shaped sticky notes that I have, but yeah, I'm gonna take these off because I can like see out of the corner of maybe each
you
of my
stick them
eyes.
on like the rim of your glasses so they're still there.
There you go.
I mean, like I said, I can like there's a little room, but this is gonna be a problem here for a second. So there's your joke, and that's about as far as that goes. Love is blind, right? Is that the joke? I don't know.
It is when the hearts are in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
But and of course, the other horror aficionado, the expert in all things gore, the chef in the Lone Star State, my man Tex. What's up, brother?
This is more than just murder. It's a kink. God, that was a great line in this. Man. That was so good. But I do have a question, though. Obviously, this is made by the same people who do the new Scream movies, right? And it stars Mason Gooding, which he's a member of the Core Four in the new Scream movies, as he so eloquently told us. Well, is he part of the dynamic duo in this movie, even though they're not a couple? Like, does that count? Because, like, that would have been a great callback.
God,
I kind of hope.
Separate yourself from anything Scream at this point is what I'm saying. Because then you can't be around
but he's the Core Four, they're going to keep that meme going.
There was more Fast and Furious references in this movie than there was in Scream anything else horror. But we'll get to the why here in just a second. Hello, BJ. Always wonderful to see you. We're very happy that you're
here. Howdy, BJ.
And it's let's get right down to it. We are here to talk about Heart Eyes. It is the 2025 American romantic comedy slasher film. And who'd have thought you'd ever put those words together in a sentence? Directed by Josh Ruben and written by Phillip Murphy, Christopher Landon, who also is a producer, and Michael Kennedy. The film stars Olivia Holt, Mason Gooding, Cuba Gooding Jr., Gigi Zumbado, Michaela Watkins, Devon Sawa, and Jordana Brewster, one of my favorite people to see on screen. Hard Eyes was theatrically released on February 7th, 2025 by Sony Pictures. Was released in North America by Republic Pictures, although Paramount Pictures internationally released it. The film received generally positive reviews from critics and has grossed $23 million worldwide as of its opening weekend. In the United States and Canada, it opened alongside Love Hurts and was projected to gross $7 to $8 million on its opening weekend. The film actually made $3.7 million on its first day, including an estimated $1.1 million from Thursday night previews. It went on to beat those projections just a little bit, making about $8.3 million, finishing second behind the holdover film Dogman, which I still think looks stupid. The film underperformed with couples, with only 40% of opening weekend attendees going with a spouse or a date. But that is on par with the previous weekend's opener, Companion. The following weekend, the film grossed $9.9 million, an increase of 19%, as noted as uncommon for horror films, which normally see steep drops in their second week. That's an interesting fact. On the review website Rotten Tomatoes, 81% of 137 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of 6.2 out of 10. The website's consensus review reads, quote, "A mixture of gory slasher and sweet rom-com that ingeniously nails both formulas. Hard Eyes serves up a bloody Valentine that will make the heart skip a beat." Yeah, it's a fair enough assumption. I don't know. Let me go to you first, Jeremy. Give me your quick thoughts on Hard Eyes.
Yeah, it was a movie. I know. Yeah, I was kind of hoping that Frank was going to feel better tonight because I'm like, I was curious about like what his thoughts on it were, and I was also like, if it was just giving me a text, I'm like, this would be a really funny back and forth because I think he liked it probably a lot more than I did. I did not hate it. I'm not saying that. I think it went on a little too long because I will get into it, but it made a very common trope of like normal rom-com movies to where I was like, oh, okay, that's the end. I'm like, that's cool. I like that. That's an interesting ending. And hey, they ended up together in the end, which I mean, that's not really much of a spoiler. Yeah, that makes sense. And they're like, yeah, just kidding. No, we're going to drag us out for like another half an hour. And then I just did not fucking care about anything it had to say after that point. And then it just pissed me off then. I was like, no, I don't care now. I thought it had and we'll get to this point too. I'm like, I thought it was something really funny what they did. And then I thought they were wrapping it up and they weren't. So that was my issue with it. I'll explain later. But as always, I mean, the main thing with these movies too is the kills. And honestly, I think, again, they nailed the kills. I didn't realize that might be kind of a pun, but there was definitely some nailing and there was some killing going on. So yeah, most of it done practically. So I mean, I will give it good marks across the board for that. But there was just some story and plot things that I was just kind of annoyed by.
Now, Tex, I know that you would have stayed in that van and watched, no matter who was walking around that drive-in theater trying to kill you. But but give me your quick thoughts on Hard Eyes.
Yeah, me and the missus went and saw this the Friday night that it came out. It was actually pretty cool. They gave out Valentine cards, like paper cards that you give out, cool. At the AMC, like they gave us like a whole sheet of it.
That is cool.
At the AMC we went to, it was a full theater. Like this was a Friday night, lots of couples, like you just said. So, now I will say, now I don't know these people, but I did see one couple in there getting a little bit handsy in the theater. So, they're getting a little romantic on Valentine's. But yeah, no, this was a fun movie. This was it was an interesting concept. It was kind of odd that we had both Love Hurts and this literally come out on the same day, and they both like took different genres and put them together. And to me, this one works because I now can say I have a favorite romantic comedy movie. Like I can add that to my, resume of film watching. But I thought I'd say it's a good 50-50 mix of the romantic comedy stuff and bloody gore horror stuff going on. Yeah, I'm a fan of this one. I like the concept, and I've been looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah, interesting concept. Like I said, romantic comedy slasher film is not something that you utter very often. It's like,
right.
This was at its core a rom-com with the slasher element, if not the other way around. I kind of would have preferred it to be more horror and less rom-com, but I mean, I can't tell you that it wasn't entertaining. It is kind of it's a weird combination of genres, but I think they did something very important with this movie that helped it work. It just didn't take it seriously. It's like, we're going to make a rom-com horror film. Let's have fun with it. And that's kind of what they did, and they made the movie fun to watch. Good kills to satisfy the horror part. Not very visual, not Terrifier level visual, but I mean, not every horror film has to show blood and spit and ass. I mean, you can just have people dying and still be entertaining if it's not intestines all over the place. Yeah, except for the van. That was kind of
fun. Her, and I meant like the lady at the end. That was pretty visual.
Oh, the one at the end, that was great.
Either the van or the wine or the great compressor thing. Those were both pretty gnarly.
Good. Yeah,
the opening
I mean, ultimately, it was a fun movie. I mean, is it as good as some other movies, other horror films? Not really, but I mean, it's. Sometimes middle of the road can be really comfortable, and I kind of think that's what this movie was. It was comfortable. If this gets streaming and I'm sitting around one day flipping through the channels, I'm like, I'll watch this movie again. It's fun.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give this movie an hour and a half of my time. They didn't try to do too much with it. Was the best part. I have some beef. We'll get into that later on. But first, let's talk about not the director per se, but just another young gun. This is what I was talking about. Young, fresh faces coming into the horror genre and trying to do something a little unique, a little fresh with it. And we've got another one here with Josh Ruben, who's a comedian, actor, director, wears lots of hats in his life. I think this movie to me kind of proved that I think that's the way it should go. We're getting a lot of these young guys, Damian Leone, for one, coming and doing something with Terrifier. That's his first big thing that he's done. There's a lot of young guys coming here and kind of reinvigorating the franchise or reinvigorating the genre. Tex, do you think that he did a good job with this? And do you think this is evidence of what I've been saying all along, that we need fresh eyes on this genre to kind of kick it into the next generation?
Oh yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Josh Ruben stuff, but the one film of his that I have seen besides this one is Werewolves Within. It was a 2021 release. So it was either 21 or 25, but I think it was 21. But
21.
Werewolves Within was another kind of horror comedy kind of thing going. Whereas, I mean, this movie is better than Werewolves Within, but they're both good films. This is, I mean, look at how many big stars, big directors started in horror and went on to other things. Horror. This is why the movie business makes these, because you can make them for cheap, and a lot of times you get stars out of it. So yeah, anytime. I mean, I've said it 1,000 times on here, but I go support horror, whether I really like it or not, just because I want more horror in the theater. So yeah, what Josh Ruben has done with this, I liked it. It was, I mean, I will agree. I would have liked maybe like a 70-30 horror to rom-com, but they stuck to the formula. They had an idea. They took a chance, and you know what? It works. I mean, he cashed in his lotto ticket. Just like you said, for the second week to go up, that's rare for any movie in reality, but especially for a horror film. So,
usually we're talking about how big is the drop off. You expect a certain amount of drop off.
I mean, for a 19% uptick, that's huge. You know what I
mean? In a relatively low budget slasher film,
right? Well, and that's the thing. Josh Rubens did it right. Horror fans love to see and we'll get into characters later. I won't go too deep into that, but he cast some people from other franchises that were popular. Some recognizable faces. They're not huge stars, but the horror nerds will notice who they were. And he gave you a fun movie, and it shows in the box office alone. I like it.
Yeah, Jay, how about you? Josh Ruben is the director. Again, a young guy, but a different approach to this. Do you think it worked out pretty well?
I would say so. I noticed that's kind of at least he made that clear. So I think that seems to be a pattern that we've had with some of these movies, like with Companion was one too, right? Somebody kind of new to the game. I wouldn't say like you mentioned like Damien Leone, like that's a pretty good example. Like he's not exactly new, but like he's, I think it worked out pretty well. This is all these movies that we've seen recently that are from newer and not only younger directors. We're doing some good stuff, so it's kind of cool to see what they can do just for their first time. So I mean, I'm curious to see what else he does, because I was looking him up, and I don't know anything on here. The only thing that sticks out to me is College Humor, and that's says enough about me. But like that's the only thing I see on here that I would know him from is probably something he may have wrote for the College Humor series, which has a lot of funny shit in it. So
yeah. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at this. I mean, he's definitely got some comedic roots. I mean, College Humor, things like that. A comedy horror film called Scare Me in 2020, which I've never heard of, but I mean, I'd give it a watch.
I haven't seen that one, but I wanted to see it, but I never caught that.
And Werewolves Within, a comedy horror. I swear to God, I've seen the poster for this, but I don't think I've ever actually seen the movie.
Werewolves Within was good. That one's worth a watch. I was kind of surprised by that one. That was one of those pandemic era films that you didn't really expect a lot from, but it was, I didn't regret it once I watched it. I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, he's also set to direct a sci-fi horror film called Green Bank. There's no details about it yet, but you say sci-fi horror, and I'm going to buy my ticket as long as you give me a decent trailer. And
you can tell in this movie that the humor in this, I like how he did the humor in this film. It wasn't all this, tell the joke, here's your setup, boom, and payoff. A lot of it was like the situational comedy, I guess is the right term. How we're not a couple, but every time the killers see them, they're doing something romantic. Like just the way that they set up the gags and the fun. They're laying on top of each other about to kiss, or they see them kissing in the parking lot, or whatever it is. It's just the way that he used the situational comedy. They didn't just flat out tell you a joke and say, "Ha ha, okay, now laugh." That was a joke, right? Isn't it funny? They let the funny speak for itself, and that's how a smart person does comedy. They don't beat you over the head. I like that approach.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I mean, the acting was pretty good. Josh Ruben did a pretty good job with everything. Again, for a young director to come out and have a solid showing.
It's solid.
Granted, he's got some. I haven't seen his other works before this, so I can't really attest to his growth. But I mean, like I said, Damien Leone made Terrifier, a lot of great visuals, but not a great story, not great characters outside of art, of course. Second movie, great growth, tremendous growth as a storyteller. Phenomenal. Makes Terrifier 2 so much better. I'm interested to go back and watch some of his previous stuff to see his growth as a storyteller. But I'm interested to see more from this. Like I said, he's doing sci-fi horror next. Sci-fi horror works out great for me. I'm there to check it out. Give me a good trailer and I'll buy my ticket right away. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, let's talk about the cast of the movie now. And obviously, by getting Cuba Gooding Jr., Mason Gooding, if you are trying to get some of the other horror movie cred, he's been in the Scream movies the last couple.
Gore 4.
That's fine. Yeah, Gore 4. Now he's part of the dynamic deadly duo. Whatever the hell you want to call it this movie, but yeah, I mean, the acting I thought was pretty good. I mean, a couple of big names, a couple of important faces, but that's not really what the movie rested on, which I thought was really cool. Jay, what do you think of the cast and who stood out to you the most?
I was just realizing, I'm like, I don't even know if there was per my own joke, was there a character that I liked other than,
There weren't any animals in this one for you to think. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I didn't have to go there.
There weren't any pigs in this one.
No. Not just those two cops, am I right? Don't cancel me. For naming yourselves that, though, maybe. Shit pissed me off so much. Other than going with, like, say, the main characters, and I'm glad we're just going to call him Cuba Gooding Jr. He was pretty fun. He's pretty fun, and like I said, he's proven himself in other movies. So, and who? I lost my tab. The girl who was the main chick, who definitely looked like
Olivia Holt.
Yeah,
but looked like what's her face from 10 Things I Hate About You, like kind of.
She does kind of like Julia Stiles.
Stiles, I couldn't remember her name. Yeah. That's not the last time I'm going to mention that movie either, because that also annoyed the shit out of me. Yeah, they were fun. It actually it worked out pretty well between the two of them, because I mean, if you want a movie like this, you got to have good chemistry with your two leads. And as we said as many situational times, they were like, oh, we're having a good moment, and then here comes this Jason Voorhees hard eyes looking motherfucker to ruin the whole good moment. So yeah, I don't want to also say anything about the stupid fucking twist they had. So I'm gonna mainline it for this one, which I think I may have done on the last one. So I know I'm just having my own character arc over here.
I don't know. Tex, what do you think? What do you think of the cast and who stood out to you the most? And why is it this girl right here?
Oh, she was great. Just a freak getting it onto the back of a van, and she got the business end of a tire iron. Tremendous thing. But no, for me, well, there were three people in this. Well, that's what I was saying. The horror legacy characters. You have Mason Gooding from the Scream franchise, Olivia Holt from Totally Killer. I think it came out in 2020. I think is when it came out. She started that one as well. But the two people that really stood out to me were Jordana Brewster and Devon Sawa, the two main police officers in this movie. I love their interaction. Jordana Brewster, obviously from Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning, and Devon Sawa, Final Destination thing. How Devon Sawa's all business, no fun, cop guy, and Jordana Brewster is just as gorgeous as she ever was, just crazy looking for love. Hell, she's going through Tinder while she's on a cop beat. I thought that was great. And I like when they first get out of the cop car for the murder scene, and Devon Sawa just like straight up, just like gets in front of her like, "Hey, you looking for a man? I'm right here," and she just completely blows him off. And then how their interactions within the movie. By the way, the twist in this movie, I saw it 5 minutes into the movie. I'm like, okay, that's the bad guy, and that's the bad. I knew it. They didn't hide the twist, but but I don't think they were trying to. So I'm not going to take away points. But Jordana Brewster and Devon Sawa were great in this movie. You know, Jordana Brewster, I don't think she's ever played a horror villain before, but she does crazy well. I like what they did there.
Yeah, I didn't care who the killers were. Like
Right.
this is where I'll make my big comparison to Scream.
Didn't either.
It's like the first Scream movie, the reveal of Billy and Stu being the killers was a thing. It was a big thing. It was a great.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The one thing the Scream franchise has suffered from since that first film is that I'm not blown away by who the killers are. The reveals were really underwhelming. Even the last couple of movies, which I thought have been a big step up for the franchise, the reveal of the killers was very like meh. It's not important enough. The way that these stories are put together. This one was kind of the same. I didn't want the killers to be known. I liked because
I think you're about to say the same thing I'm going to, but go ahead.
I picked a lot of this movie apart in the first 10 minutes, which kind of bummed me out.
Oh, yeah, it's easy. It's easy, yeah.
Part of my brain off, and I was like, popcorn, Frank, soda, just fucking stop thinking about it. But it's like I thought it was interesting. It's like, and this is a little bit more than a plot, but I mean, character crash-wise, I thought it was interesting that they were saying if this killer doesn't work in one area, he's different cities over the last couple of years.
He's all over the country, yeah.
I was like, that's interesting. That there's a lot of weird storytelling opportunities that came from that, but I was like, okay, whatever. And then, it gets to her, and I'm like, whatever, okay. Underwhelmed by the killers. I mean, I'll start with the performances first. I like the performances a lot. I love Jordana Brewster. I mean, all the way back.
Oh, she's great.
The Faculty. So great in that. She's look. I don't care that I'm round about my age now. She is still knockout gorgeous.
Oh, she looks amazing. Yeah.
Cuba Gooding Jr. Not bad. I mean, again, you get a lot of a lot of the screen credit. That little tissue right there. Oh, you remember what that guy was in? That guy was in those other horror movies that have been doing pretty well lately. I get it. I also like the fact that Olivia Holt, she's not, while she was in like Totally Killer and she's done some other horror-like stuff, that she was known for being like the Disney girl. She was on like Charlie something or other.
I don't know anything about
Charlie.
that.
Yeah, she did a lot of stuff on the Disney Channel when she was in her teens, and I really like it when someone breaks out of that mold and goes and does something like very adult, like a horror movie. That's always fun for me. But I mean,
but they're not a couple. Just remember that they're not a couple.
Yeah, I wasn't blown away by Devon Sawa. I
thought he was good. I've always been a fan of him.
Later in the movie, I felt like his performance was really forced. I don't know if that's just him acting like a weirdo or if that was just him not really being into the role.
I think that was done intentionally, though. I think they had him act like a dick over the top to try to throw you off of the scent of who the killers were. I think that's why they acted him that way. I mean, that's just my personal theory.
Yeah, there were even times where it's like Jordana Brewster. I was just like, why this kind of dialogue delivery? Can't you just talk? You're a pretty good actor in a lot of things, not just Fast and Furious. She was in the Dallas reboot show. I think still is. I think it's still on. I don't know. I've never watched Dallas.
Well,
but, she's done other things that allow her to be a real actor. She's not just tied to one genre of film or to one role. She's a good actor. So why force things and look so clunky? There was times where she looked kind of clunky, which is one of the things that oversells the fact that she's probably the killer. We'll get to that in a minute.
One thing I will bring up, this film, the way it is set up and executed, this is a early 2000s era, like 2000 to like 2009 or 10 horror film. Like, go back and watch this. Go back and watch the reboot of My Bloody Valentine. All of those films that came out in that era, this looks, feels, and is shot like an early 2000s horror film. Now, I know some people don't like that taste. I happen to love it. But this felt like this. If you would have told me, hey, this came out in 2007, I would have believed it. And that's a good thing. But stylistically, even the acting, there are so many, especially My Bloody Valentine 3D with Jensen Ackles. Go back and watch Hard Eyes and then watch My Bloody Valentine 3D. They film like that, or they look like they were filmed, back to back.
I have seen a lot of people making comparisons to this movie online, saying that could be like a spiritual sequel to My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. Like, yeah. If you told me the minor was in this world, I would believe you. And like I said, not counting for the technology, because obviously we didn't have this technology in the early 2000s, but looks wise and the way it's shot and kills, yeah, tell me the kill where the chick gets the tire iron through the throat, and then the opening kill of Texas Chainsaw 2003 where they go through the throat and show you the kill right there in the van. Tell me they didn't steal that from that era. Like, that was from right there. Like, there's no way they did.
There's a lot of things they stole from other movies. I noticed
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was like,
I
I appreciate that. I appreciate that shot through.
Hobbs
her,
and Shaw, really? I mean, we're not bring up Hobbs and Shaw. The fucking
no, we're fucking not going to bring that up.
Funny thing is, that's one of the reasons why we're not going to be doing trivia at the end of this, because I was looking through I figured there wasn't going to be a whole lot of stuff. Like, literally, that was like one of the 3 pieces of trivia is like, the cops' names are Hobbs and Shaw. This is a reference to Furious, where Jordana Brewster stars in a lot of movies. I'm like, I know, because I saw this like in its second week, so it wasn't a very full theater, but it's like when that part comes up, it's like me and the 6 other people. Me and the other 6 people in the theater are both like, yeah, we got that reference. Yeah, so that's not an important.
I understood that reference,
but yeah,
I think it's right in the beginning when they come out and one of them yells like, "Hey Hobbs" or some shit. I said, I swear to God, if the other one's named Shaw, I'm gonna fucking freak out. Sure the fuck enough it was. So I was already pissed off when they said their name. I was like, please don't make that joke. Please.
You know what? It was made even more annoying by the fact that the girl calls him out. She's like, "Hobbs and Shaw, you mean like the movies?" And I was like, come on, really?
You should just look right at the camera like,
you can't just let it hang
family
out there and let the
if they didn't
come to this.
If they didn't, make reference to that, people would have crapped upon, like, how come you didn't make a reference within the world? Like, I think it's funny that they did. I thought it was fun.
Well, I was gonna say with the male cop, what we were just saying about him, I was like, I think as soon as they made that joke, which was pretty early on, he stopped being fucking relevant. And that's not me just hating on that.
Oh
joke.
yeah, no,
like,
Devon Sawa.
Like, here you go, Hobbs and Shaw. Isn't family fun? And then they just like never did anything.
Well, realistically, you only get him in obviously the investigating of the opening crime scene. Prior to that, the whole him flirting with her, and then once the raid on the police department happens, obviously he doesn't make it out of that, which got stabbed in the fucking dick. That's a hell of a way to go. Holy shit.
Sucks.
But he didn't have a lot to do in this, but he kind of served his purpose. Like, we didn't really need him to do much more, honestly. I mean, you could have had him survive till the end, like, whatever. Gotta go sometime.
I don't know why, but when I saw him get the knife to the nether regions, I immediately in my head
that hurt.
I went back to that scene. Do you remember the Carrie sequel that came out like back in the early 2000s, early 90s?
The Rage, Carrie 2.
The Rage, yeah.
Oh yeah.
The one scene kill in that movie that has always stood out to me is when the kid from Home Improvement gets shot in the dick with the harpoon gun. And after it hits him, it cuts to the pool, and you see the harpoon go into the pool and stop with his dick hanging off the end of it. I was like, that's a shot right there. That's the good horror shit.
Right. It's a good kill. It's just, I kind of cringed in my seat a little bit when I watched it. I'm like, I kind of felt that one.
Whenever any guy watches another guy get even the slightest trauma to his regions, I think all of us kind of go, oh. We all kind of shift our chairs a bit. Like,
well, that's how you know if you're a real man. First you go, oh, then you laugh a little bit because it's funny to see somebody get hit in the dick.
It's like, no matter what situation, even if you wanted the guy to get hit in the dick, you got to like put your hand on his shoulder and be like, you okay, bro? Okay, good. Now I can laugh.
Right. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But let's talk about the plot now, and again, mixture of rom-com and slasher, made for a lot of interesting things. Worked in most places, didn't quite work in others, but I didn't think it was overall that bad. Jeremy, what do you think of the plot of the film? Did it work for you? Was there anything you would have changed?
That's a fun question. Would I have changed anything? Yeah, I would have taken out the last like half hour of this fucking movie. I'm sorry. Like, I thought this was a fun movie, and I hate that now with horror movies because we always have some nameless victim, or in this case a couple, and a photographer in this case also. You have your opening kill, which kind of sets off your movie and sets your tone. But the problem is now, I think, like with when I watched Midsummer, I was like, that was a fucking visceral opening scene. Holy crap, that was dark. And it was like, yeah, the rest of the movie was directed by like someone else or something because I didn't know what the hell that was.
Yeah,
Nothing to...
Midsummer fell off hard. Like after that.
Yeah, it's like I get worried sometimes that like that opening scene, like, well, yeah, you got to nail that. And I'm like, but then you got to keep that vibe going. And thankfully, this one did. I mean, that was a really wild way to kill some people. Like the photographer got one right through the lens of his camera into his skull. I don't know what happened to dude, but the girl who got like smashed in the little thing inside in the barn was
in the grape press for the wine.
Yeah, for the wine.
Up,
yeah, that was really cool. And they didn't, and as I said about the kills, they didn't really stop that vibe, which was really appreciated. And then it lays its groundwork. You know, you got your two leads who, again, you keep having the right moment at the wrong time, as we keep saying, is every time this guy comes around, they're doing something where it's like, oh, they're gonna start falling in love, and then damn it, now we got to run again.
We're not a couple,
right? Which I kind of thought was like, yeah, I mean, they're not. So that's where I was a little confused because I'm like, right, they're not. I don't know how this guy knows what's going on. And with that, I didn't need like any sort of motivation for this guy other than like, okay, maybe he just enjoys killing couples on Valentine's Day. I was like, okay, that's all I need. That's just kind of fun. Sure. He's got like a Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees kind of aspect to him. Obviously he's pretty imposing and his feet have to thunk with every fucking step. It makes him really intimidating. And I'll get into a little bit of a spoiler here. I think at the drive-in. So the point is, I was like, well, how does he know? And it seems to be just a weird miscommunication that they saw them have like an actual kiss, and they're like, yeah, well, that's all I need. I'm gonna go kill them now. And they stab the guy in the parking lot, and they straight up take his mask off. And I thought that was the funniest thing ever when they just look at him and go like, the fuck was that guy?
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
I thought that was so fucking funny. I thought that's actually pretty clever. And I was like, okay, if that's actually I don't need an explanation. I'm like, cool, that's awesome. Yeah, again, your standard ending horror movie trope of, you're sitting in the back of the ambulance with the little blanket over you, everything's being wrapped up, and
we're gonna need that blanket back.
Yeah, happy endings all around. And then, it's the at the end, this is what I was talking about, the other trope of him leaving, going to the airport, and then her friend, who I wanted to punch in the mouth for, I don't know if anyone else caught it, but she railed off like 4 other movie titles in like one sentence, and I wanted to strangle her for it. Because she's like, go ahead, just go chase him. It's that crazy, stupid love, actually. I was like, kill yourself right now, please. Don't ever do that again. I caught the damn names of the
Why not her?
I'm gonna get there. Now, like I said, they do that movie trope where she, oh my god, you're right, I love him, and she's gonna run to the airport and catch him there before he leaves, for wherever he was going to his friend's wedding or something. And I thought, okay, cool. I mean, they killed whoever this guy was. I'm like, yeah, I didn't need to know who it was. That was fun. Then she went to the thing and to the airport, and then all of a sudden she gets a call, and I was like, what? Huh? We're not done? Oh, we're gonna do more. Okay, why are we doing more?
I wondered if that
and
was
then I just didn't, and like I said, then then I'm like, I just didn't care then after that, and I was like, oh, it's you who does not match the physique of this guy at all. Oh, it's the scrawny fucking IT guy too? No, it's not. I feel like I'm being gaslit. You're lying to me.
Then it's a woman with tits, but you don't see it in the sweater she's wearing. Okay.
Yeah, and then they're like, so wait, then who was the guy in the the drive-in? Oh, that was some other guy. We were a throuple. I was like, what? Okay, sure. I just didn't care by the end. I was like, the movie's already over and I'm done with it. And I didn't care. And then, yeah, the ending where a year later they're at the drive-in again, having their little moment. They're gonna get engaged and get married, and her friend's over there being a dick, taking a picture of them, trying to, like, akin to the kill we saw in the beginning. And I was like, I just wanted a knife to go right through that fucking bitch's camera and kill her. Now that would have been a great ending, because it's like, oh crap, there might be more coming, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know. Tex, what do you think of the plot of the movie? Did it work out well for you, or is there anything you'd have tinkered with?
Yeah, obviously this is from the same people that did Scream, so you can't help but not notice the similarities that they took from that franchise. But I like the Zodiac kind of presence about Hard Eyes, like especially in that opening kill, felt very much like the Zodiac killer. Great character design. I love the mask. I love how it looks like an old style football helmet, but with hard eyes. Which I have a feeling Art the Clown with the flower glasses, I think that inspired the design of the hard eyes because so many people caught on to the sunflower glasses, by the way. But the plot wise, I like it. I think it works. You're playing on the standard trope of the sad girl who's, doesn't have a date for Valentine's, so it draws in the girl audience or whatever. But you have these brutal kills to get people like me to go there. And I like the way that they build up. And this is why I say it feels like a early 2000s slasher film, because anybody that you see on the screen is either victim or bad guy. They don't introduce this movie does not have a big cast. So basically, take the old saying of everybody's a suspect, whatever. Literally half the people you see on screen in this movie are the bad guys, which I thought was funny. And I don't think it went on too long. I will disagree with Jeremy on that. Like after they find the first killer at the drive-in or whatever, anybody who's ever watched a slasher movie knows you build up to that moment. And the fact that they didn't do that, I'm like, okay, we're not done here yet. We're only like 45 minutes in. We got more to go. But I like the tropes that they played with. Now, one thing I will say, probably the funniest moment in this plot where she's running to find him at the airport and she hugs the black guy, but it's not the guy. I don't know who this person was in my theater, but they yelled, "That's racist." And everybody busted out laughing. It was absolutely hilarious. Because she's just hugging a black dude, whatever it is. But I like the plot. I like the cult angle. I like that it can build to more into the future. I like how the ending happened, the whole buildup of Saint Valentine and all that mythology and everything else. And I liked how they wrapped it up with the opening kill reminds us of the end of the movie. And the friend's phone did cut off to end this movie. So I do think they did leave the door open, or they left the window open, as they say. But yeah, I think the plot works. I think it's fun. I dig it.
Yeah, I like I said, there's when you're combining two things that don't usually go together, like rom-coms and slasher movies, there's a certain amount of leverage I'm going to give you because it's a weird combination of things. Just because two things are different don't mean they don't necessarily work well together in some capacity or some formulation. So I can't. They didn't do a bad job kind of balancing the rom-com and slasher aspects. Because if you would have gone too heavy in one direction or another, it kind of would have made the movie unbalanced. That's why I was like really kind of annoyed that it looked like they were going to have the rom-com ending. I was like, no, that doesn't fit. We need to have a horror ending. And then when the phone rings, and I was like, okay, now we're getting on to the ending that it should be. But overall, I mean, it wasn't terrible. My problems are not with the story or the writing necessarily, or not with the acting or the character. With the third act, while fun once you get into the church, wasn't, like I said, the reveal wasn't great. I don't know. I mean, just looking at it, and like you said, because the cast of this movie is relatively small, there's only so many people it could be anyway. And I thought having it be getting junior probably wasn't going to be a smart thing to do.
Junior.
Yeah, you don't generally want the best looking guy in the cast to be the killer. I think they've always done that. Now, Scream, they did it because basically just the only two guys in the movie were the two killers. But this movie, I'm like, nah, he's got a lot of positive love from the horror community because he's in Scream and he's always one of the guys that survives and so on and so on. He's becoming a pretty big star in his own right, so maybe he doesn't want to be the villain, the killer just yet. But I was like, Jordana Brewster is the killer. I was like, there was nothing in this movie that made me doubt or even give a shit if she was one of the killers. I honestly, it's like I've seen enough of these movies. I was like, one of these cops is the killer. It may be Jordana Brewster. It may be Devon Sawa. I don't care. This is how these movies go. It's going to be one of them, and I thought maybe her friend would be one of them because she's so obscure. That
I kind of had a feeling the best friend was going to be one. I did think that.
I kind of thought that she might have something to do with it, but I was underwhelmed. It was really disappointing that like when that big reveal finally happens, and I was kind of like, I just shrugged my shoulders. I was like, okay, so can we get on to the final confrontation now? I didn't have that moment where I was like, no way. I didn't have that.
Yeah,
it just wasn't there.
Bill and Ted moment.
I don't. Like I said, I don't think they were trying to hide it. They were just kind of throwing it out there.
Well, they were trying to reveal it like they did. I was like, okay, like he was saying, I was like, okay, sure.
Well, it's like Jeremy said, the random IT guy who's literally in 12 seconds of the movie.
He's in we get introduced to him, and then he's the killer. Like that's his whole entire plot. We get no more.
Like, can you?
I thought it was gonna be really clever that it was someone they had no idea who it was, and I'm like, that would have been so much funnier, and I would have loved that. And you're like, no, actually, it was them. I was like,
I got to be perfectly honest. I really wanted the killer not to be identified. I think that would have been much funner.
Yeah, even if you did pull the mask off and be like, who's that? I don't know. Okay.
It's like she goes to take the mask off after they kill him at the movie theater, and then like the cops all roll up. They're like, oh my God, what happened? And she's like, oh yeah, this is the killer. And they rush her away real quick. And while they're rushing her away, somebody pulls the mask off. And you're like, oh my God. And then you never tell the viewer. That's the kind of dude, roll me up hard and put me away wet for that one. I would have taken that. That'd have been awesome. And if you do doing a sequel, which we'll talk about the possibilities of a sequel in a minute. And if you do that, you leave yourself open for a lot of different things. There's a lot of storytelling. There's a lot of different things you can do like that. But it's like they take his mask off. You're like, who is it? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean?
I thought that was really clever, and then you ruined it by having a whole other half hour of the movie trying to like say, oh yeah, gotcha, didn't I? With a twist. Like, no, you didn't. I already checked out and I didn't care because I thought the movie was over.
Yes. So it was like the whole like the first guy they unmask him and nobody knows who the hell he is. He's just some asshole walking around a mask for all I know.
And they even still were kind of like, oh yeah, he was just some guy we were screwing around with. I'm like,
and then you finally get to the church and it's like, oh, I'm the IT guy that was in the movie for 3.5 seconds earlier and I asked you out and you shot me down because clearly that guy does not know that if someone's in a police station, they're probably not having a good day. So maybe you don't want to ask her out for coffee.
Probably not.
Because the whole scene, I was like, really? You're trying to hit on that girl now? She got blood all over her fucking shirt. And you're like, I'm really sorry whatever happened to you.
Hey.
It traumatized you. You want to get coffee later? It's like, dude, get the fuck
out. To be fair, though, Jordana Brewster, she was straight up hitting on Junior after they killed the first guy. Like, oh, can I give you a ride home?
I also thought that was kind of obnoxious. I was like, really?
Well, I was like, is this really the... Because like that dude walks out, I was like, okay, bad cop. I'm like, okay, is this good cop or what kind of good cop is that?
But to be fair though, with her character, it works. I mean, the first time we see her, she's swapping, right on all of the nerds on, Tinder or whatever. So it would make sense for her love-struck character to be hitting on the cute guy that she likes, after he just killed somebody. So whatever.
Yeah, and I liked the battle, the visuals. Now it turned into a straight up horror movie at the end. I love the visual. We'll talk more about the kills later, but I do like the fact that it turned into more of a horror ending at the very end. That was the ending. It needed to have a horror movie, slasher movie ending. The rom-com ending, I was kind of like, okay, no, she got the phone call. Okay, we still have more. Well, this is going to end the way this movie should end. But it was strong enough ending for the plot. I mean, look, there were some places where it kind of trips on itself a little bit, but not so much that it flattens out the whole movie. So, I mean, I don't know what kind of notes he got from people who, from higher ups, even if there were higher ups, because I don't remember exactly off the top of my head who had a hand in the production of this. But the plot was okay. Let's talk about the kills. I couldn't find really any of them online because the movie is relatively new. There's not a whole lot of screen grabs that are out there just yet. But I'll go to you first, Tex. As somebody who is a big fan of everything blood and guts, while not the kills we would get from something like Terrifier, the kills were still entertaining. What do you think of the kills, and which one was your favorite?
I liked them. I liked them all. Now they did steal. Well, technically they didn't. Well, I guess they did steal too. They stole the head decapitation from Saw 5. And they stole the through the throat shot from Texas Chainsaw 2003. But out of all of them, I got to go with the van kill, where I've never seen a tire iron used in that way. And anytime that a film can take something, whether it's a weapon or a tool or whatever, and use it in a creative way, I always love that. Now, I've never seen a wine press used either, which the amount of blood in that scene is amazing. It's just like, it's like Evil Dead 2 levels of blood in that thing. It is everywhere. I loved it. But for the visceral through the throat, the creativity to do that, which, like I said, they didn't come up with it, but who cares? The best one's still, right? But yeah, I got to go with that throat kill. I thought it was amazing. The practical effects, the way that they used it, you could see it was a dummy, but it still looked good. They didn't linger on it too much. Just cover everything in blood, as Jeremy knows about. If you want to hide something, douse it in blood. That's the best way.
You can't have enough blood. Trust me.
It covers it all, and you put it in darkness. You can get away with whatever, especially in a horror.
That's about 90% of my job. I'm like, trust me.
Yeah.
I tell people, I'm like, if you don't know what to do, just throw blood on it. Like, no one's gonna notice it down there. You're in the sunlight, but trust me, when you go down in the dark, it's gonna look cool.
It worked for Sam Raimi, right? How many Evil Dead movies have we gotten out of it so far? So why break the mold now?
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be my favorite of those. I think Frank is maybe way, but you want to go ahead.
Yeah. Well, and I just kind of realized now, if it was, I'm a little disappointed in myself that I didn't realize they did that same tracking shot through the back of her head and out her mouth, like the 03 Chainsaw Massacre. I'm like, oh yeah, they were also in like an old school van, just like in that movie.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. They straight up stole that from that movie, but hey, I'm glad that they did, because they did it a creative way. So it worked.
I appreciate it, because I'm like, that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's cool.
Yeah.
And I will say they at least did the head decapitation and like, wait, and it rolls down. I was like, well, at least it looked better than it did in Saw, because that was awful.
Yeah, that one in Saw 5 very heavily CG'd when you go back and look. Now it was a practical head that falls, but it was very heavily CG'd on that one. Yeah.
It was bad.
This one fell much better. Like in the one in Saw 5, it like falls very quickly because they hadn't perfected the CG. This one, it's like the slow kind of, whatever goes off. So this one they did better than Saw 5. So.
Yeah. And some of them are a little over the top that I'm like, okay, but I don't really care. Like her getting like kind of just cut in half, or like from her neck, and she separates from her head and falls down. That was pretty cool. What other? Well, there was like a lot of other people just kind of died really quickly. Like people in the.
Well, there were a lot of deaths in that first drive-in scene where Hard Eyes is just, he's in his Michael Myers mode. He's just slashing and going. Like he's not even really paying attention. Like, let's see, the main kills were the wine press, the van kill, the stab to the dick, the police station stuff. Like that was really the main one,
And then like the two, like where she got killed by the St. Valentine statue, and then the IT guy gets like burned by all the candles and shit.
Yeah.
And they were all, like I said, they were all done practically, which is, that's always appreciated in my book, because you can always make that look a little better, because you don't have to worry about CGing, like, okay, now it's got to look like it was actually at night. The shadows got to make sense. The lighting has to make sense. Like, no, you just make a thing practically enough, and then you, like you said, cover in blood, you don't care. You're gonna destroy it, stab it, blow it up, whatever you're gonna do. I mean, you don't have to do anything crazy with it, but it's gonna look, it's more convincing when you can see something like that. Because, like I said, in my side line of work, that's what you have to do. You can't do anything. You can't fake it. You gotta make something and make it look convincing. So,
and like, I think if this movie had not had the over the top kills, it wouldn't have worked. This isn't a slasher where you go in and it's not like a Halloween film where you kind of take the kills more seriously. Like, this is where the comedy element comes into play for, I mean, like, hell, we were, Frank and I were talking about the Hatchet movies, or I was explaining them to him earlier before we started. there are certain kinds of horror films where they're not meant to be took seriously. They're meant to be over the top, funny to a point where it's like, okay, I know that's not really how that would go, but that looks freaking hilarious. You know, like they're
But
meant
it
to go
didn't.
that way.
It didn't go like too far into like goofy stuff.
No,
like
no.
Some
No.
like Jason Voorhees stuff. Like it had a nice like
Yeah,
midline
no.
of like where it was.
It
You're not
didn't go
having
like
a
Tucker
boxer and you
and Dale versus
punch the dude's
Evil.
head off.
Yeah, it didn't go Tucker and Dale versus Evil where a guy jumps himself
Jump
into
into
a wood chipper.
chipper.
They didn't go that far.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, you
Which-
jump in a wood chipper. There's only one thing that's going to happen.
Right,
To you, but
like, you know,
it is
yeah.
still, yeah. I mean, like
It's
it's
like-
not like the really insane stuff, like picking someone up with a
The-
sleeping bag and smacking them into a tree or something like.
right, yeah.
One of my
Jason,
favorite horror kills ever.
Jason
Like I said,
didn't, Mike Tyson his head off with one punch. You know what I mean? Like,
that's my favorite is the boxer from Manhattan where he's beating the shit out of him. He's like, all right, come on, asshole. Give
that
me your
movie
best.
should
One
really
punch."
be called Jason Takes Toronto, by the way. That is not Manhattan.
Or Jason goes on a cruise and walks around Manhattan for 5 minutes, I think. I don't know
Right.
what that movie was. Kicks over some guy's boombox and then he knocks the guy's head off his shoulders. That's all I remember really from that movie because that's
Right.
the only time he was in Manhattan. So
Dr.
whatever.
Nick says, I like Jason stuff.
well, we know what he's into.
Hey, I would love to get into
The
some
hockey
Friday
mask
the 13th
stays on.
stuff. I would love to review some of those movies. I'd totally be down. I love those.
The only one that we
sleeping bag is the best one.
The only one that we've done is the very first one, the OG. I think me and
Yeah. Well, and to be fair,
Brody did that.
the first Friday the 13th, that movie sucks. That movie does not hold up over time. It is boring as shit to watch now.
I think it's a classic. I honestly, that movie's a perfect example of like what I think about the entire horror genre. The first movie is always the best. It's not sequels. It's just generally speaking, the first movie is the best one. Then after that, especially if it's one of those franchises that goes on for like 27 movies, there is a significant drop off and keep going, like Jason did with his 27 movies. I mean, by the time they get to Jason Takes New York, it's like, come on, really? Okay, guy in a hockey mask with a knife, we get it. What's new?
I mean, I did just watch a thing about like it was like a countdown of like horror movie like main characters that are worse than the actual like killers or villains themselves. And when it led with Tommy Jarvis, I'm like, what did Tommy Jarvis do? And they're like, he was literally responsible for the fact that he comes back to like Jason comes back to life. I'm like, that's true. He was so obsessed with that, and he made the situation so much worse by like putting that. He got basically a lightning rodded back to life.
I know this isn't
He went on to kill like 1 million people. So
I know this isn't a Friday the 13th review, but I will say parts 4 through 6 are probably the best storytelling within the Friday film. I'll say that. But like I said,
we don't talk about 5.
I would love to. I would love to do a deep dive on the Friday movies because I mean we definitely got to bring Dr. Nick and Alex in on that.
Yeah, he said there's a lot there to dissect. I'd be down.
Oh,
go get my Jason mask that I made a few years ago. Like paint it up and did
I'm
it
looking at
myself.
my Jason figure right over there on the shelf. So, hell yeah,
it's somewhere. Actually, I probably could go get it. But
I assume you guys have both kind of blown your load in the kills, but look, this movie did the one thing that every horror movie has to do right. The opening kill was entertaining. It was funny, which was great for the movie. It was gory, and it was the right kind of gore. Like, I wish I had a picture of the knife going through the guy's camera lens into his face. I was like,
that was cool.
I said that right there is quality. That's a quality of horror kill. Right?
Oh yeah.
But the arrows I thought was interesting. This
little crossbow.
My problem is a crossbow is such a clunky weapon to wield.
It is.
Even a mini one like he's got, I'm like, that's kind of. It's not like you can just shoot and then
the crossbow's more for show than function, kind of thing.
It's like hunting and stuff.
Daryl Dixon did it for like 11 seasons. Shut up.
Well, yeah, that's TV.
Another controversial take. I never liked Daryl. Merle was better. They should have kept him alive.
Well, they kind of wasted Rooker. I think he was fantastic.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
But Yeah, the kills are fantastic. I did really enjoy. I wish I could have gotten a screen cap of it.
There's at least
Like-
right before.
Like when that thing squishes
Right.
closed, you're looking in the window of that grape squisher, and she's looking at you like this, and you just see kind of her head explode, and like I think it's
Yeah.
like
Oh,
the
so
bottom,
cool.
the bottom row of teeth is kind of stuck to the window and sliding down. And
Yeah.
Like her eyeball
Like,
comes out and shit.
that was high. That was some high quality shit right there. It
That
also
was
gave
good.
me one of my favorite images of the entire movie. Like this is a great horror movie image. The killer just standing there. And
Now-
silhouette.
That's like the
Like,
Hitchcock
that's-
Presents like outline thing. Almost.
that's
But it looks like
What did y'all
That's
think
a
of the
great image.
character design of Hard Eyes? Like while that picture is up, like well,
I love
even like the one here on our
Right.
image. That's
Yeah,
that,
I
I
love
think
the
it looks
character
cool.
design.
Yeah, I think it looks awesome.
He's got a touch of Michael Myers to him, like the whole mask,
Yeah.
not just like Jason's got the hockey mask, sure, and for most of the franchise, his head is kind of fucked up and screwed up anyway.
It almost looks kind of Texas Chainsaw, like it's a leathery, almost like skin, like kind of.
The
Well, I was
trench
gonna say,
coat.
it looks like an old school football helmet. Frank will know what I'm talking about when I said it.
Oh,
It's got that leathery
the
look.
leather. Yeah,
Yeah.
there it is. Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
a great shot right there.
Because I'm pretty sure I've seen a mask similar to that in like Spirit Halloween, just without the hard eyes part.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
We certainly
you
will
know
this
what?
year.
I was gonna say, but you know what? I will be willing to bet we'll see one of these masks in Spirit Halloween this upcoming year.
I may have to get one because I really like the design of this mask.
I hope they light
It
up
looks
too. I mean,
cool.
that would be awesome.
Now, the functionality of having that bright of LEDs next to the eyes, you're not going to see anything. Like wearing a mask.
Trust me, from personal experience, it is awful. I've got.
Oh yeah, you're
like,
not
from
going
the-
to see anything. But
like,
it looks cool.
It's like those purge masks where it's got the X's
Yeah.
that light up in the eye.
Yeah.
I've worn that and I couldn't see a damn
I have
thing.
too. Yeah, yeah.
It
I've worn
was
them on
awesome.
Halloween.
I was
More
chasing
You
than
people in
can't
the dark
see
with a.
anything.
I was
more
chasing
than
people in the
that-
dark with a chainsaw. It was not a good time.
Yeah, more than that, he's got night vision. Did you catch that
Yeah.
scene?
Oh yeah. Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, how
Oh,
the hell do you
yeah,
work
it
night
turned into
vision
friggin-
this mask?
It turned into friggin' Darth Vader all of a sudden because like it's red vision. He's going like. I'm like, okay, Darth Vader, I see you.
But yeah,
Well, see-
I'm with you guys on like the whole final battle scene. Like when Jordana Brewster gets impaled by that sword in the neck, and then her head slowly just kind of rips off. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that was so excruciatingly fun.
Beautiful shot. Beautiful shot.
That's
with
God. I wish I had a picture of that. It was
with the
it was
blood
so fun
dripping
to
off
watch.
of
Oh yeah,
with that blood dripping off of the blade sticking out on that St. Valentine statue and everything else. That look thematically looks so good the way that they did that. I
my
like
only knock on
so
that scene is I wish her head would have stayed up on the sword instead of falling off next to her body. While it wasn't a
It's
bad
a little
look,
comical.
I do think it would have been
Yeah.
a much cooler look to have her body crumpled up on the floor beneath it and her head still balanced on the sword. That would have been a much cooler look, but I don't know. That's just me.
See, my mom's
Well-
pointing out like the practicality of this mask. I'm like, you need to be able to breathe in that thing or something because like
See,
have a mesh
there
net
was
on it or
one
something.
thing-
Yeah.
there was one thing that I was hoping with this mask that they didn't mention in this film, which if they do a sequel, they could do, and it would take this character to the next level and even go closer to a Leatherface. That you could visibly believe that mask is made of flesh. How cool would it be if whoever the killer is took the head of the victim and skinned him like Leatherface and made his mask out of their skin like that? That
That'd be
could be something cool to add depth to the character to make them even worse, even scarier than
Even this-
they are.
Even this picture we've got here, it almost looks like there's like I'm stitching like right down the middle.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying. It's got stitching
Yeah.
down the front. It's got stitching that goes along
Around his
like
face.
the portrait
yeah.
of the face, and it's got the mouth. Like you could very easily say that. Oh, well, the hard-ass killer takes the flesh of their victims to make their mask or whatever. Like it's and it's believable. It's like it's nothing hard. We've seen how many Texas Chainsaw movies where he wears other people's skin. So why not?
Is this a Trojan bearskin joke in there somewhere? I don't know. Maybe. Oh no!
Hey,
Picked a bad
BJ,
time to eat.
you eat at your own risk. You knew you were coming into a horror review. What I was going to talk about. I bear no
I did
responsibility.
mention it was a horror
on
movie,
this.
so I mean,
We
So,
talk all
this
the
is-
time about what his favorite movies are. I mean, he's
Right.
always going
Like
to go there.
she's watched me well enough to
think
know
I'm the
that you think he's the buddy. You ain't seen nothing yet, my lord. But
yeah, I thought the kills were really good. I mean, like I said, opening sequence, the killing that couple, who I got to be honest, they're every now and again there's somebody in a horror movie that I'm like, I cannot wait for you to die. This chick was absolutely the one. I was like, my God. It's like, so the guy kneels down to propose, and she's turning into an absolute pain in the ass about wanting to be just right. He didn't get the shot. Oh no, I have to do it again. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, it's like, just stop.
Dude, that whole opening scene where, by the way, the opening song that you hear when they play this movie is by the band Lone Star from the great state of Texas, by the way. Yeah. So, that's one more for us. But it's just so obnoxious. It's like the worst part of a Hallmark movie. And you think it's her that is pushing all of this. Like, oh, you messed up the line. Hey, he calls to redo that again and blah, 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 whatever. And then, camera dude gets it with the knife, or, gets stabbed through the camera, or whatever. Like, such a great cut.
That's one of the reasons why I didn't want the rom-com ending, because I feel like we got the rom-com beginning.
I did.
And then even as everything starts to pop off and Hard Eyes kills the couple, I'm like, that's a rom-com beginning. It starts out with the nice romantic music. He's kneeling down in a vineyard and blah, blah, blah. And then all hell breaks loose. But I'm like, I want the ending to be the horror ending. Not about, if it had been the horror beginning, more of a horror beginning, and the rom-com ending, I might not have been so annoyed. But I really, because it started out as a rom-com, I wanted to end as a horror. If that what we were doing was some amalgamation of the two things. But
it's gonna come full circle. I don't know.
But yeah, the only really gory one other than the final act was the one in the back of the van, which I was kind of like, look, I was just like, I don't know that I would have sat in the van as long as they did. I'm sure Tex probably would have. But while these people are enjoying each other's company,
I paid to see this movie, dead chick or not. We're staying till this movie's over. By God, I don't know. We ain't.
I did want to talk about that too. I'm like, this was also like the thing where it's like, I don't know if this movie is trying to figure out what it's trying to do tonally, because the couple is in the back and they're just stoned out of their minds and, getting their rocks off. But then I was like, okay, haha, funny. And that's where they're having to hide, unfortunately, from the killer, is this couple who's just going at it in the back of the van, and they're ducked down in the front seats. But then they're like having this, like, having some dialogue and some heart to heart and some backstory. And then I'm like, yeah, but the entire scene to where it's almost distracting, and then I was annoyed as I'm like, I have to hear. I get that's the joke, is that they're still in the van with those two going at it, but I'm trying to listen to what she's saying, and all I keep hearing is them two fucking each other. And I was like, okay, the joke's it's over. It's gone on for fucking too long.
It did drag on for a minute.
I was like, okay, I wanted to hear her story, not hear them, and you could have still cut them out a little bit, have her tell the story, and then cut back to Junior Mints, whatever the fuck his name is now.
I love that we're adding a junior every time we bring it. That's great. I like that gimmick. But
then he was like, "Oh, it looks like they're enjoying themselves," and then it goes to here comes Hard Eyes, and he kills them. I was like, you could have came back oh, they're still enjoying themselves. That's fun.
Feel like it would have been funnier, like the comedic value would have been a little bit greater if, instead of having the sounds of them enjoying each other's companies in the background, it's like as they're talking, the van is suddenly shaking.
Funny, yeah.
It's so it's really subtle, but once you catch it, you're like, oh, the van's shaking. I know what's going on in the back of this.
Yeah, you don't have to hear them for the entire, because I'm like, you're trying to hear them and then hear her story, and I was just like, it's going over top of each other. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Bring it back at the end where he's like, they're having fun.
That van scene, I did have to deduct half of a point from this rating, because that chick should have been topless. You're telling me there's a love scene in a bloody blood and guts horror film, and we get no boobs? She was wearing a bra. Believe me, I checked. I double checked. I promise.
She had so there should have been boobs. Hair. I couldn't even tell what she was. I didn't see. They both had really long hair.
This movie had everything else that a good slasher needs, but there were no boobs. Half point deduction.
What was the rating of this?
I believe it was R.
I mean, probably R because of the blood, but
yeah.
Well, I think they dropped some F-bombs. I'm pretty sure this was rated R.
Yeah, I think this was R.
Well, I know that they're when it comes to nudity and stuff, because it's swearing is one kind of thing, and then is another.
The violence, the gore, how much blood, everything. Yeah,
it's how much blood. That's one of the reasons why there's a difference between movie. There's not really a whole lot of visual stuff, whereas in something like Terrifier,
and that's why people like Tarantino. That's why Tarantino had From Dusk Till Dawn, they bled green instead of red because if it's a different color, it doesn't somehow translate or whatever. But yeah, this movie should have had nudity in it. Like, to be a true slasher, that needed to be.
But it wasn't a true slasher. It was a slasher rom-com.
I guess.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, so it wasn't a true slasher, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the first kill was the important one to get right. The last kills were awesome. Again, I'm glad that the tech guy who was only in the movie for about 3.5 minutes total, who was also one of the killers, was I'm glad that he had the hot wax on him. He was shot. I mean, he had several things happen to him. So I would imagine by the time his last breath was taken, he was probably pretty happy that the pain was going to be over. Coated in hot wax. I mean, look, for one, the guy was fully clothed. I mean, we've all been like lit a mess with her or something like that, have a little bit of hot wax in her finger.
Well,
it's uncomfortable for a couple of seconds and it goes away. But I mean, a lot of hot wax while you're fully clothed. I'm not even sure he would even feel that.
That's another one that they stole from the Chris Rock Saw movie, Spiral from the Book of Saw. One of those deaths in that movie. The girl police captain
commissioner or whatever,
the police commissioner is chained down to the table and gets hot wax poured over her until she dies. So they even stole that one. So technically, two of these deaths came from a Saw.
But how dressed was she?
Completely. Well, like
she still had her shirt and her pants on. Yeah,
head was on. Like she had like this. She had like a mesh thing over her face. And she was like clothed.
She's basically waterboarded with like wax.
Yeah, she was waterboarded by wax basically. So yeah, they like it works. I mean, it's just, they stole that.
You could almost say it's like House of Wax, where like they sit them in the
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The whole House of Wax movie is literally, but like I said, there's a lot of callbacks and nods to other horror stuff with it, which. The horror nerd in me always appreciates. I love that kind of thing. I dig it.
I'm trying to find a Hard Eyes mask, and all I'm getting.
It might be a little too soon for it, but I bet you.
I haven't seen any Hard Eyes merch yet, but like Jeremy said,
I'm sure there will be.
There will be.
There will. Oh yeah.
By next.
I'll be raiding that Spirit Halloween like the day it opens in like August or
by
whatever.
Next. And I'll be looking for sure by next Valentine's, like. Oh, yeah. I guarantee you there will probably be a Hard Eyes Funko Pop action figure mask. Ooh. All of those things. I guarantee you there will be that.
Yeah, I haven't. There's not one that's like easily findable on a quick YouTube or quick internet search. So
I think
if they make a Hard Eyes figure with that has light up eyes, I am buying that.
That's what I'm saying.
That will be on my shelf. I'm telling you right now. That will be a cool addition. So,
most certainly, I do like the look though. But let's talk now about the inevitability sequel. I mean, it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. They left themselves open, but I already feel in my heart like they're going to do it wrong. Tex, do you see a sequel coming to this franchise, and what do you think it's going to look like?
Yeah. I mean, let's not forget Spyglass and the people behind Scream are making this. There's no way that they don't capitalize on this because let's say Scream doesn't go well. They have a backup slasher franchise to go to. Yes, the movie is left open-ended where the friend is, filming and she calls with the fake Hard Eyes voice, but then her phone gets cut off. To make you think, oh, there's the real Hard Eyes. And we know they never specified that these three killers did these killings across the country. This could be part of a larger family. Like they never specified who did what, I don't think any of these cops did those other killings. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't think that they did. I think there's others out there in this Hard Eyes cult, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I'm totally down for a sequel. I'm throwing my wallet at it right now. I love my slashers. I love new slashers. I love Jason, Michael, Freddy, all of these guys. But let's get some new blood in. And if this is a cool character, I like the design. I like the aspects of what this character brings to Scream. So yeah, give me a sequel. I'm down. Turn up the blood, guts, and gore.
Yeah. Jeremy, what do you think? I mean, is there sequel potential here? And what do you think? What would you do with it?
I mean, that is also a trope of these movies too, where there's always that left off at the end, like at the last second, like something happens, or the killer didn't die, or there's someone else, as Tex was saying. So yeah, I'm not mad. That's always something that happens. I kind of thought we'd see something like with her friend, the phone getting cut off. I thought maybe we'd see a knife go through her camera or whatever, just because, again, I remember what the other one she said now was when she's on the phone with her and she says, like, that's one of the 10 things I hate about you. Go get your crazy, stupid love. Actually, I'm like, don't ever do that again. Don't ever just realize. It's so clunky how many movies she tried to make into like one long sentence. I'm like, shut up. Right. I just wanted to see her die. I'm sorry. That could have been a great jumping off point.
I did want the friend to die. She was annoying as shit. I did.
She was a little bit annoying. The only thing I think what I was going to say about what Tex said is like that was also kind of left open, that they're like, they had it like there was going to be someone across the country that he did something in, like, was it like Boston and like New York or somewhere?
Was it Seattle, Boston, or like there were two or three different locations?
Yeah, like, but those two are pretty close. I thought if it was New York and then like Boston, I'm like, and then all the way in Seattle, I'm like, that's a little far, but like
that's what I'm saying. I think there's more to this than we've seen.
I thought there'd be more setup or more payoff with that. But the only person I could see maybe doing that would be the IT guy. I'm like, maybe he travels and does this IT thing and he just kills people on the side. I don't know. But then I was like, it didn't make sense with a cop either. I'm like, well, someone would notice if for some reason she was the accusation she was trying to give to Junior squared times pi. How many times I've said it now? To the 10th.
We're up to 4 juniors now, so we have to go 5 on the next one.
Then Penna Junior, Pentagon 5, whatever. That she was trying to tell him, like, oh, well, you travel across the country, don't you? You were in the same place as he was. And I'm like, and he's like, yeah, like I travel for work. What the hell's your point? I'm like, yeah. Right. And then when I'm trying to think in context, I'm like, someone would have noticed that you were there. You're a cop. You don't think anyone else would have investigated that? I don't know. No. So that was just kind of like not explained. So if that's where you go with it, like Tex said, maybe there's more, because this could be the kind of the Scream thing, or where there's like copycat killers and other people that emulate it and shit. So maybe that's what you could do.
Yeah, one of the things I'm afraid they're going to do, it's like I can already see it kind of happening. It's like, you know, Disney Girl and Cuba Gooding Jr. They go off to Paris for their honeymoon or something like that, and suddenly people start dying again. And what do you know? Hard Eye calls, and so I'm going to kill you because
you can't use the excuse you're not a couple.
Now, the only way that it would be hilarious, and it's like I would be mad, but it's the goofiness level would be off the charts. I'd have to enjoy it. Was if the killer of Vin Diesel? He's like, you killed my sister, family, and then like he's going around killing people. But
Mr. Hobbs and Shaw.
But here's
for some reason Jason Statham's there. I don't know.
Here's what I want them to do. Early in the film, they were talking about different cities. One was Boston, one was something else. I forget where. Boston, Philadelphia, I think, and then Seattle in this movie.
I think, Seattle was one of them, I remember. Yeah.
Well, they're in Seattle in this movie.
They're in Seattle.
We're talking about Boston.
Oh, yeah.
Happening
you're right.
The years
like
prior.
East Coast.
So I was thinking to myself, this is a really cool idea that you could have this not necessarily be a sequel of characters, like an anthology film.
Yeah.
And you end up finding out that there's a cult of Hard Eyes killers that are operating in all different places, and
they all get by the same thing.
And they're all motivated by roughly the same thing. Maybe they don't exactly know each other. Maybe it's like one person who was into the cult in Boston moves to Philadelphia and starts his own cult, the Hard Eyes cult. So like I said, I don't really want to see another Hard Eyes chasing these two people. That's been done to death. I'm tired of it. I wouldn't
even bring them back.
An anthology film, like a different couple.
Yeah.
It maybe have some like news footage in the background of something that happened in Seattle. If you really want that visible connective tissue to remind the viewer, but viewers aren't necessarily stupid.
Do like what these Smile movies do, where it goes to the next person or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was gonna say like
this franchise.
It's not always the same people, but there's
this franchise doesn't have to be like it's always a Laurie Strode or a Nancy for Freddie. Like these as much as Junior to the Sixth Power and his girlfriend were, they weren't compelling enough for me to come back. Realistically, the only reason that Cuba Gooding Jr. to the Seventh Power is just for name factor only. So do the anthology thing, build across the country, new set of stories, maybe even the Hard Eyes mask. Keep the Hard Eyes,
guys. Networking. Let's go.
keep the Hard Eyes the same. Keep like the face profile the same, but the mask looks slightly different because somebody else made it or whatever. So it varies a little bit. Just so you're keeping the main thing, but you're diversifying as you go. Do something like that.
Yeah, that's what I would like to see them do. I don't feel like that these movies all need to exist with the same people. I also swear to God, I'm so done with franchises at this point. 3 movies. Stop at 3. I just
as long as they're good.
The horror franchise has had some really great killers, great storylines, be diluted down to absolute dog shit. Only 27 movies.
What are you talking about? I want like 15 Terrifier movies. What are you talking about? You
want that until you get to number 15, and even you were like, Jesus Christ, Art, I've seen this song. I've
and that's fine. That's fine. And then once that happens, we bring in Rob Zombie for a reboot, and he makes us a good one again. I'm perfectly fine with that.
We got to bring back Harry Throat. See how that works? See what I'm talking about?
Hey, how many people have made billions of dollars off of people like me who will go back for Friday the 13th Part 25 because we love this crap. So I'm the reason why these movies exist.
I think a lot of people don't. I mean, go look at the box offices for these movies. It's like maybe it's a little hard to compare some of the really OG ones that came out, like 74, Texas Chainsaw, 81 or whatever,
right.
80, the original Friday, because box offices were not very.
It was 80.
Anyway, it's like $150 million.
Yeah, the first one was $80
million these days.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go back and look, if you want to try to adjust them for inflation, all that, if you look, it's a steady downward trend of box offices. So fewer and fewer people are going to see these movies. And it's like, yeah, the hardcore people like Tex are going to buy a ticket to go see, Terrifier 27.
They were just kind of cranking them out. It wasn't
all about it.
But hey, you say that though. The power of the horror slasher, yeah. The continued sequels may not make as much as the last one. Horror movies make more money off of the merchandise than they do any day. Go to Walmart right now, you're going to see Michael Myers stuff on the shelf, T-shirts, action figures.
Freddy Krueger.
But they don't
Freddy Krueger, whoever it is.
They don't make nearly as now. They make good money off merchandising. Don't get me wrong, but they don't make nearly as much off merchandising as they do off the box office. Like,
I don't know.
Have made money off merchandising the way they make off the box office. Star Wars is definitely one of them. Maybe the big budget Jurassic Park, but I mean horror movies. While they're going to sell some stuff, they're going to sell some T-shirts. They don't sell.
I don't know. Now I'm not saying all of them, but like the heavy hitters, like a Michael or a Jason, that's a money print machine. Like their stuff is always for sale somewhere. So
the problem is you can't hang your hat off. Though it's great to sell 1 million T-shirts with Michael Myers.
Akkad's did with Michael Myers. Are you kidding?
But if 12 people are going to see the movie, that's the number that's going to be thrown out there. And because
obviously, I'm not saying like some mid-tier low slasher that nobody's seen. Yeah, you can't hang your hat on that. But if you're lucky enough to get a character that hits, you can make a mint. And I would venture to say a couple. I'd be almost willing to say something like a Halloween has made more off of merchandising than even box office. Now that doesn't go for all of them, but you can make a pretty penny off of fucking.
It did establish itself well enough to make.
You're also talking about a franchise that is, as we sit here today, 40 years old.
Well, yeah,
it's legacy. So that's
now guys like me and you and Jeremy, we're going to be going to Hot Topic when we're 97 years old to buy a fucking Michael Myers.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be going there. I won't be sending the great drinking.
What you're not getting is the teenagers. That's what they're after. They're not after me and you anymore.
Well, yeah.
They're after the teenagers, and the teenagers don't know. Well, I mean, Mike Myers might be a bad example because of the recent trilogy that came out. But I mean, Hard Eyes, Terrifier, those can be the guys that go after. Ask most kids today who Freddy Krueger is. They know who he is. But
it's not like my friend at my local Hot Topic That was the advertisement for the Hot Topic window for the month of October. That's who I got that from. So yeah, like they're making money off of art money now, not Michael Myers. But yeah, I get it.
Well, it's more recent. It's recency bias. Is what it is.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
There's a lot of the creepy kids with the sack on his head.
Hey, if they can ever, Jason and Freddie are the next two that are prime now, and we've been saying this for 20 years since 2009 for Jason. The fact that we haven't gotten them on the big screen, people are. If they were to make a Friday film, it would make more than the 2018 Halloween film did because fans have wanted that movie for so long with this lawsuit crap. I think a Friday the 13th movie would be huge. And I'm not talking some crappy TV show about Jason's mama. We don't want that. We want to see the guy in the bag head and hockey mask slashing at people and beating them to death in sleeping bags and everything else. Give us that. We'll be there.
They killed that. They killed that video game, and that still pisses me off.
Yeah. Oh, people were furious about
that lawsuit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that game too. I had fun with it, and then I'm like, there's kind of no point now because some fucking 80-year-old motherfucker who like kind of barely worked on the fucking movie back in the day was like, well, I worked on it, so where's my money? And
Stupid
I'm like,
Victor Miller. He has no right to the stuff. He wrote the original script, and from 2 on, he had nothing to do with it. Sean Cunningham was the one that made all that happen. Like, I hate Victor Miller for what he's done. Like, it's unforgivable. It's ridiculous.
I did not enjoy that came out of nowhere, and I'm like, dude,
yeah,
you're like 105 years old. What are you really doing this for? Come on, dude.
Bitterness.
Oh, it's mad.
I guess. Like I said, he saw something that was really pop. It's funny how the game already came out. It was getting steam. People loved it. And it was really popular. And then he's like, "Oh, well, I want a piece of that now because I worked on the movie." I'm like, "No, you."
Well,
didn't.
it was It was the 2009 Jason film. That thing almost made like $100 million. That was a huge hit. I love it. That's my favorite Friday.
Well, what I'm saying is they wouldn't have been able to do
stupid
the game in the first place. They wouldn't have been able to do the game in the first place if they didn't have the rights to it. And then, like, this one guy comes out of nowhere and ruins the entire thing, saying, "Well, I own all that." Like, no, you don't. Dude.
Oh, that's ridiculous. He doesn't own dick. Whatever.
Yeah, I was like, I was really disappointed that I couldn't. You can't really play that game anymore because it can't be.
No, they took down the server.
Yeah, the support was gone, and then basically the game's dead, which is a weird twist of irony, but it's still
video game nerds.
Hey, you guys know that about me. I'm just saying it's But do you see what's right there? There's the poster for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. It's right there on my shelf. One of these days, I'm going to go to freaking Horror Hound and get Kane Hodder to sign that and reframe it.
Nice. Well, when we review the Hatchet film, you'll get to talk about Kane Hodder because he's the star of that movie. He is Victor Crowley. So there you go.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
I wonder.
That's like I'm upset that I can't get Gunnar Hansen anymore. But I was like, well, but technically in the video game it was Kane Hodder, so I'm fine with that if he signs it.
I have a rule about not buying. Like, if I get an autograph, I want to get it, so I know it's real. I almost broke my rule for Gunnar Hansen because I was on eBay the other day and I saw an autograph Texas Chainsaw figure.
I feel you.
By Gunnar. Yeah. Now, it was certified by Gunnar Hansen, but still, that stuff can be faked very easily. So I didn't pull the trigger on it. But I almost broke my rule on the autograph.
That's what's really funny about going to cons is there's always that booth that's like right somewhere nearby that where you can like verify stuff. Yeah. Like, I just did it. I get the point of it, but I'm also like, I just did it. I saw it happen. So I don't know. One of these days I might go do that.
I go to, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, allposters.com. It's where I go every now and again. I'll go back.
You told me about that. Yeah.
And they have, believe it or not, they have first run movie posters on there. Like you can go, what's one of the Star Wars ones?
Actually, when I was walking, while you're looking that up, I was walking through the theater going to watch this, and they have a poster up in the theater for 28 years later, and oh my god, I want one.
That 3 skull logo, dude, that looks amazing.
With the biohazard and the 3 skulls inside.
Yes, oh my god, adore that. I cannot wait for that movie. I do think
Frank, you got that guy on the inside, right? Nudge, can you get me one of those posters?
I think the two I'm making a bold prediction here. I think the two best horror films this year will either be 28 Years Later or
28
Until
years.
Dawn, because both of those movies look incredible. Now I know how you feel
I'm
about
already
Until
gonna
Dawn on the video
I know.
on the video game scale, but just on the way that the film looks, I'm excited for both, and I think one of those two is going to take best horror film for the year.
That's the problem. Is like if you're just looking at it from a horror movie thing, I'm like,
Yeah.
great, but I'm like, the point is it came from a video game, and I'm like, you're not doing anything
Right.
remotely related to the video game, so I don't know why
Right.
I don't know why they bothered. I agree. I think 28 Years Later is going to be fantastic, and I'm so.
I think one of those.
They,
like I said, I'm holding on my card now. There could be something that comes out of the blue that's even better that I don't know about yet. But from what I know, from what I've seen to this date, Until Dawn or 28 Years Later will probably be the two best films horror this year.
Shit, it's about time we made that movie because we damn near waited 28 years until we got the damn movie.
No shit, yeah.
They don't have them on here now, but at allposters.com they actually had first print Star Wars posters.
I'm sure that cost a good little penny.
$3,000 was one of the prices.
Yeah, I'm good. No, thank you.
I was rubbing my wallet one time, and I was like, I can do this. Jennifer will leave me, but I can do this.
I'll never financially recover from this.
I'll never financially
So say you have your Joe Exotic.
I'll have that first run Star Wars poster, damn it.
But I'm happy now, damn it.
Hopefully that
now,
can handle
I
the
would buy like a first run chainsaw or something like that.
Exorcist, maybe that'd be sweet.
Like I think the only ones that I would pull the trigger for would be either chainsaw or like I'm not even gonna say Halloween, like maybe like a Halloween 4 or something like that. But I don't know.
Is it just called All Posters?
Allposters.com, but they don't have a lot of the stuff that they used to have. It's been a while since I've really been on this website.
Now I would buy an original Saw poster where it was the one where it's just the foot cut off with the chain on the ankle. I would buy that one. As well.
And the posters are not like overpriced. The frames are fucking overpriced as shit, which is why I don't buy them.
I hate the frames are so goddamn.
Yeah, poster frames are awful. There's so many posters I could put up in my house if I wanted to spend $45 for a frame.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you don't want to. I've got a couple of like this one that's behind me. Y'all seen how like that's literally touching my ceiling and it's almost on my floor. This is literally a wall-sized deal. Like it took up a whole window at the Hot Topic there. It's huge. I couldn't frame that. It cost me, $3,000. But to hang a poster, you have to have it. Otherwise, you're going to tear it up. That's the only bad part about it. Nick says, I love Bram Stoker's. Oh, yeah. Okay. That's a good one. I wouldn't buy an original, but yeah, that's a good one. Like
they don't have the posters on there that they used to have.
$3,000 for a Star Wars. That's fucking insane.
No. It wasn't just a Star Wars poster. It was first run from
first
70s.
run.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's crazy.
That was insane.
Which I mean, I looked at that and I was like, yeah, that's how much that would cost. like if it would have been from like one of the prequels, I might have been like, you're off your fucking hinges. But I'm like, first run Star Wars 77, yeah, that makes sense. To be absolutely honest, if it would have been another $1,000, I probably would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. $4,000 that poster would make sense. You got to remember, like, and that was one of the that was back in the day when they used to actually like hand draw every poster, but they were designed and painted by like a specialist.
Yeah. I saw a photo the other day of like a guy who was working on the original Star Wars poster, and it was still like half completed. Like he had maybe underneath like Han Solo was like still not printed in yet. And I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
The process of making that original poster.
Yeah, that used to be a true art form. Now it's just like copy and paste someone's face around an explosion. There's our poster for the Fall Guy. I'm like, okay, half the thumbnails I make are better than half the movie posters these days. And I suck at making thumbnails.
Movies used to be art. You know what I mean?
I'm so over the stupid floating heads of here's the stars of our movie posters like that. God, that's so get a little bit creative with it. Like that, do something here, my Lord.
Okay, there is a 1977 original Star Wars poster on eBay for $3,000.
Yeah, but
Right.
I'm not buying. There are so many fakes out there. Like, I'm not buying that from eBay. I wouldn't trust that.
There's one for $800, which I'm not entirely sure what condition it's in. There's one for $6,000 on eBay, but it's free shipping.
Oh, crap.
Free shipping though.
Oh well,
Yeah,
hey,
that's what they get you.
they're.
That's what they really get you.
I think I can afford. I think I can
afford.
afford $10 shipping if I'm paying $6,000 for a poster.
Yeah,
But whatever.
a lot of these are in various states of wear too, because like one of them is torn partially up the
Now,
middle.
a couple weeks ago, whenever I went to the Texas Theater to see Joe Bob live, in the lobby area. Now it's the theater. It's literally you walk in the hallway and to the right is the theater. Like it's not like a multiplex like we have now. It's they have some original posters on the wall. They have the original print of the Mexican version of Dracula from the old Universal films, like it was in Spanish or whatever. They have one of those hanging on the wall there, and it looks amazing. I would have loved to have had that. Who knows what it's worth?
Let's see. That seems like a good place to start wrapping things up. I think we've talked to death. Again, no trivia. The only piece of trivia on there that was even slightly interesting, it wasn't enough for me to want to touch on this one piece of trivia, is that apparently the Hobbs and Saw joke was actually written in before they had cast Jordana Brewster, so that was just kind of a happy accident.
That's hilarious.
And that's really the only piece of trivia there is. Oh, the director cameo. The guy at the drive-in theater is like someone called 911. That was the director.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was Rubens. Okay. He had to get his Hitchcock moment in.
Well, he's also an actor. He's got the experience in front of the camera. So I mean, whatever. And he's not the only person who's not usually on screen to jump in front of the camera first. I keep hitting the damn button to mute myself.
Hey, if I ever get the chance to make a movie, you bet I'm putting me in there somewhere. Like I'm not going to miss that opportunity.
I think
that's going to happen.
I don't know if he still does it, but then again, making his books into movies is not as rapid pace as it used to be. But Stephen King usually has a small cameo in all the movies based on his.
Well, he's got one this weekend with the monkey, so we'll see if he's in there somewhere. So.
I don't remember seeing him in it.
He was the guy in the store, wasn't
he? It's been a while since I've watched it. I don't know.
Are we talking the miniseries or the movies?
Either. I don't remember seeing him in the miniseries either.
He was in the.
It's been a while since I've watched the miniseries. In all fairness,
he was in the new movie. Yeah. Like he was like the weird, creepy shopkeeper, and like on the right above his head was a conspicuous little license plate that was from a little movie called Christine.
I think the last time I watched the miniseries was when we reviewed it a couple years ago. It's the last time I've seen it.
Miniseries, I have no idea, but I know he was in the newer movies.
I've watched the miniseries in quite some time, but they finally released some poster art for the Welcome to Derry TV show.
Oh boy!
I saw that.
Basically, just a new poster for it. But
what's interesting about that is that series is going to take place over like 40 or 50 years. So you're going to get to see
3 different times. Yeah,
it's going to be 3 different times of Pennywise doing his thing. So I'm actually kind of interested, and they're bringing back Skarsgård, so we're going to have the same Pennywise. So I'm looking forward to that.
Sure. Nick says the original Scarface poster would be awesome. Yes, it would be.
Now
he's also talking about Pacino.
Could you imagine snorting a line off of that poster? Like that would be epic on another level, right there.
That would be, yeah.
I would. I mean, I don't personally do cocaine, but if you gave me the opportunity to do cocaine off of that cocaine poster, I'm gonna have to. You know what? Maybe just one.
He's gonna roll the poster up real big and then just like right across the table.
What was the movie that I had seen recently? It was based in the 80s. And there's this one hilarious scene where, because you guys remember the whole Nancy Reagan just say no thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The guy's at a party and it's in some big nice house, whatever, rich people, and he's doing lines of cocaine off a picture of Nancy Reagan. I was like, wow, that's pretty
That's
fucking
bold.
awesome. That's pretty awesome. I mean,
That's fun.
drugs are bad, okay, but I mean that was pretty awesome. I was like, I get that reference. That's pretty funny. So if you're of a certain age, you will get a giggle at that scene.
Even I think that's funny. That's
pretty damn
Oh
funny.
yeah.
But we're gonna go ahead and start to wrap things up here. Let me get your guys' final thoughts. Let's start with you, Jeremy. Give me your final thoughts on Hard.
It was a fun movie. Like I said, it had some good kills, which is always a plus.
Good Lord. I think I don't know. I think it would have been fine if it had ended on the rom-com ending, which I think was still funny. I thought it would have been funnier if you just had no idea who the killer, like it was just some random dude. They had no idea who it was. I was like, that would have been a lot funnier. But yeah, it's not something you're gonna like, regret seeing. So it's definitely worth a watch. So it's another one of those we're eventually going to have a horror movie for every holiday, I'm pretty sure, if we don't already. So
Please.
This has entered the zeitgeist of that so we're getting there. It was a good one.
Tex, how about you? Give me your final thoughts on Hard Eyes.
Oh yeah, this is a fun one. It's I'll support your local slasher, as I say. Go support it. I mean, obviously everybody did it. Made more money the second time than the first one. So hopefully we get a sequel. Fun kills, creative, new things. Didn't really create anything new. It borrowed most of the kills from other movies, but you know what? The great ones steal. So I'm fine with it. It doesn't bother me. But yeah, fun cast, fun movie. I don't know if it's still in theaters or not, but when it hits streaming, definitely go check it out.
I would say go see it in theaters. I mean, it's look. Is
No, I'm saying if it's in theaters, go see it. But I'm not sure if it is or not at the moment. I'm not sure.
Look, it went up in its second week, so I'm thinking they might look at it and be like, "We're going to leave this in theaters a while longer just to see." Look, I mean, I say
it's not like anything else is out. What, you've got fake Captain America movie out? That's basically it. So why not?
Yeah, go support every movie in theater if you can. But I mean,
look,
I thought that while imperfect, I thought it was fun. I left the film entertained, which is all I really want in the end. Acting was decent. Writing was pretty good. I love the look of Hard Eyes. I think that's a really cool killer slasher look. It's not quite as cool as Art the Clown, but I mean, I still think it's a great look.
Well, hey, how can you not love that thing? Come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
What you gotta do.
But look, it's a fun movie. It's got some star power in it with Jordana Brewster and Cuba Gooding Jr. X times infinity. But
Junior to the 10th power.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a fun film. It is kind of weird to combine these things, the rom-com and the whatever, but in the horror, but it worked out with what they gave us for this movie. I can't really complain about it. Like I said, kills were good. It was a good horror movie. As far as a good rom-com, who the fuck knows? Because that's not really my bag. So I'll let one of you women try to take a look at this, or anybody who's in a rom-com. Tell me how it adds up as a rom-com. But as far as the slash elements, it's got them. It's not bad. It had a really creative. It had a fun ending. Like I said, Jordana Brewster getting her head lopped off by that statue. That's not a bad gig. That's not a bad gig at all. But yeah, it's a fun movie. I was entertained for an hour and a half or 2 hours, however long the movie was. That's all I really want in the end. When I go to a movie, I want to leave the theater feeling like I've been entertained, and I was entertained by this movie. So go check it out in theaters. I'm sure it will be on streaming services sometime in the next month or so. If not on something horror specific like Shudder, you'll probably be able to get VOD on Amazon or all the other streaming services that are out there. It's a fun watch. And are they gonna make a sequel? Probably, because that's what Hollywood does. It made good money. It's got some good press. It's got some good reviews. They're gonna rush out a sequel. I do think it was interesting that when I looked at it a little bit ago as we were talking about it, that it didn't say anything on Wikipedia or IMDb about anything about a sequel at all. So it's not like, because usually you can say it'll have that little thing that says sequel, and it'll say, the director mentioned that there are ideas for a sequel, but they're not committed to anything just yet. It had nothing mentioned about a sequel anywhere at all. So maybe they weren't really planning on it being very good, or maybe they weren't planning on it doing very
well. To be fair, most
like,
horror releases that come out in January or February aren't traditionally good, so that's why they dumped them there. But we've had this one, I think, is great, and Companion was pretty decent. So we've lucked out this year with early horror films. So it's not bad.
Yeah, but like I said, man, that young guns getting into the horror genre and taking it to wherever it's going next. I think that's the way to go. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the guys, the Wes Cravens and guys like that. I love what they've done for the horror genre, but it really is time for, because half these guys, some of them aren't even alive anymore. Some of them
Wes Craven, he's been dead for a little while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Some of these guys are deep into their 70s and 80s. It's like you need somebody to really pick up the mantle. That's where like a guy like Damien Leone comes in, like maybe a guy like Josh Ruben who did this film. He come in and kind of add something a little new, maybe bring it into the modern era and help it continue to grow. It's a decent movie. I think you guys should check it out. Thanks to my co-host for coming in and being awesome, as always, starting with my Header Life mate, Jeremy. Where can the folks don't find you, my friend?
I'll be here. Whatever we're doing next Tuesday and Thursday. I don't really know. Oh, no, we're doing Late Night with the Devil, but I'm not sure.
Late Night with the Devil.
Next week. Yeah. So I'll be here because I don't do anything else. And now Frank's got me in a rabbit hole looking at movie posters, so I'm sucked into looking at that now.
Rachel, go grab the credit card right now. He's about to spend too much money. Go right now, Rachel, before he does too much damage.
Yeah, stop me now, because
she's gonna look and see what poster he's buying first. If it's a cool poster, she'll be like, "All right, I'll allow one." If it's just a poster, she's gonna be like, "Oh."
To be fair, one of them I looked up was The Exorcist, and I'm like, "Come on, it's a cool looking poster."
We see her run in there and grab the wallet, and grab his wallet out of his back pocket and tell him, "Nope," right on camera.
Well, but no, remember, we're married now, so it's our money. So
yeah, it's
our there we go. Yeah, there you go. That worked.
So really,
I was actually just
you got that married money now. There you go. I know about
looking at some Five Nights at Freddy's posters.
Well, not really.
Yeah. I'm really disappointed that the really expensive posters aren't here anymore. Like I was
see, look at that.
Yeah.
See, it depends on what poster it is. That was my point.
So confirm with her
the doghouse yet.
If she agrees, then it's okay. But and the Shades of Lone Star State, my man Tex, where can the folks at home find you, sir?
This weekend we're going to see Oz Perkins the Monkey film. Looks pretty interesting. Apparently it's blood soaked from the images I've seen online, so that's always a good thing. Looking forward to that. As far as recommendations go, considering that the horror icons within this film with Jordana Brewster and Devon Sawa, I'm going to say go rewatch Texas Chainsaw: The Beginning and Final Destination, because they're just fun movies. They're both. It's a good watch. It's a good era within horrors. Go watch those movies tonight, so you'll have fun with it.
As for me, you will find me back here as Tex. As you guys were just saying, we're going to be doing Late Night with the Devil. Finally going to get around to seeing that movie. We'll be doing that on Tuesday. I'm looking forward to getting into that one. I've heard nothing but good things about this from people who
amazing
that I trust. I'm trying to see how many juniors I can fit into one comment section. But yeah, and I forget what we're doing next Thursday. We'll be back here doing something. There we go. Junior times infinity. If I could find the infinity symbol on here, I'd probably just use that. But yeah, we'll be back here next week doing our usual thing as always. Go check out all the people in the comment in the description below. Go check out all those channels as well. A lot of great content creators down there. Night Watch Zone, Connor, who was with us the other day to break down Captain America, American Werewolf in New Jersey was here the other day to break down Captain America with us. Those guys are all great. There's a lot of really cool people out there in this movie disgusting sphere. A lot of people in our little community of movie fans. They're all really great content creators. So go support them as well. Share them around. Subscribe to them if you haven't already. A lot of really great people. As a matter of fact, Night Watch Zone just did a video earlier today. I think right about the time we were going live, ranking the horror killers, I believe. that I will have to
Ooh, there we go.
check that out. I want to get his opinion on some things. But good night to you as well, BJ. Always wonderful to have you
Good night,
around.
BJ. Hopefully, me talking about defleshing somebody made your dinner better. So I hope that enhanced the flavor and whatnot.
Yeah, if you haven't offended her by now, I would imagine. Thanks to all of you for coming and hanging out. We very much
My mom
appreciate it.
like
We'll
that.
see you
Come on.
guys on Tuesday for Late Night with the Devil. Until then, adios.
If your mom ever gets to meet me, she's probably gonna whoop my ass for the things I said on here, right?
She's going to
Right.
do what moms do. She's going to give you a look, and it's going to melt you like an ice cube in the middle of the
Right through you.
I'm like, I'm sorry, Jeremy's mom. I'll be good.
Gonna put you in timeout.
Yeah.
She's definitely got that way about her. I've met her a couple of times myself. She's got the mother stare.
Oh, yeah.
She hasn't pointed
Well,
at me
I
yet,
know
thank God,
firsthand.
but she's got it.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.